So this morning I'm heading down to the dairy farm to see if I can thin out a few more crows. This morning I had a really good plan. I was going to come down, hide up underneath that water tower there and knock some crows and magpies and that off of these rails and that just here. They tend to fly and land on those guardrails before dropping into the slurry pits here. But as you can see, the farmer's been round with a strimmer since the last visit, and that's all cut back now, so if I try and put any sort of hide there, that's going to stand out like a sore thumb. So I'm just planning what I'm going to do. I think because the cover's pretty high all around the slurry pit here, I'm going to see if I can make myself up a hide somewhere in amongst this lot and hopefully pick off a few magpies or crows in the slurry pit. Well, the issue I've got here is to be anywhere near this rail. I haven't got a lot of cover. That rail is quite a hot spot for birds dropping in to the slurry pit here. If I sit myself over in that back corner there, then firstly I'm quite close to that rail and I think they'll spot me, and also I'll be shooting straight into the sun, so I'll struggle to be able to see through the scope probably, and also I'll be struggling filming any shots. If I shoot from this side, again I'm only 10 yards from that rail, so my intended bit of cover over there by that water tower would have been perfect, so I would have been about 30 yards from there, but that's non-existent. So and I can't shoot from anywhere back this way because I'll be shooting towards the farm or the farmhouse, so it really does limit my options. I'm actually starting to think maybe I'll just sit in the barn and like I did the other week, and shoot through the slats and see if I can knock stuff off of here. Well, I think I'm going to opt for a barn ambush again this time. It makes a good bit of cover. It's probably 25-30 yards from that rail there, so hopefully I can stay in here out of sight and knock a few over as they land on that rail. So I've got the Brocock Ranger with me this morning. Lovely little rifle this, nice and compact, perfect for this sort of thing. I've got it topped off with a Element Helix 6-24, really nice little scope this, very good for the money. And I've got that held on there with a Sports Match quick release one-piece mount. For some reason the birds aren't too interested in landing on that rail there and dropping into the slurry pit this morning. Maybe that's something that's happens a bit later in the day, but there are quite a few birds that are dropping in on the maize like last time, so I'm going to see if I can knock one or two of them over. Well, that's one down. That one just dropped straight in from the roof above my head, dropped in and landed, it's about 10-15 yards away. So it was a really nice easy shot, that one. So when I went and picked this lot up, I found at the back of the maize a dead magpie, which I found quite surprising because I hadn't shot at any magpies intentionally. So I was somewhat confused by that because it appeared very fresh. It wasn't until I sat down editing these clips that I realised that in this clip I actually hit the magpie that was sat on the wall of the silage clamp. So I'd shot the crow, the pellet had gone straight through, deflecting at an angle, and hit and killed the magpie. So that shot actually turned out to be a real double whammy. Even though I'm tucked inside the barn here, the birds are still seeing me because the sun's shining through, and I think just when you're moving backwards and forwards, or just even little tiny movements between these slats, I think the cutting the light out between the slats like that suddenly just makes them really aware that there's something going on in here. So I've put up some netting and that just around where I'm stood, and that seems to be doing the trick. That one there didn't take any notice, and I've had a couple that have landed up on the side of the silage clamp, which I can't get a shot at because I'll be dropping pellets into the farmyard behind. But they don't seem to be taking quite so much notice, whereas before, the slightest little movement, they were gone. So that was a bonus squirrel there that came in, only about 10 yards away. Shot that with a headshot just down here, and the pheasants are taking quite an interest in that at the moment, wondering what's going on. In fact, these pheasants have been quite useful because they're sort of on that grain. There's 2 or 3 of them out there at the minute, and I think it's giving the magpies and crows a bit more confidence to drop in and feed on that maize. But you can see they've pecked some holes in there. Well, they found some holes and enlarged them. I'm not quite sure, but they're landing on there and pushing their heads into these holes to feed on the grain. Because the crows and that have pecked through that cover or enlarged any holes that they've found, it then means that the maize will rot underneath. So it needs to be kept covered, and what's actually happening is it's causing a lot more damage than just the birds eating it themselves. Well, that's the second squirrel down. It's surprising just how many birds and animals actually visit this maize to feed each day. No wonder it goes down pretty quick. So I usually use a Pard 007 on the back of the scope, but annoyingly, because I'm always chopping and changing rifles, I took the adapter off and put it on a different rifle, and this morning I've come out with the Pard with the rifle, no adapter, so I'm having to film purely on the camera, and that's actually not too much of an issue because although I'm in a confined little space here, I'm able to hold the camera with one hand and shoot one-handed with the Ranger because it's so small and compact. It's ideal. Well, it's looking like it's gone a bit quiet out there now, so I think I'm going to call it a morning, but I think we managed to adapt and overcome today. It hasn't gone quite as smoothly as I was hoping, but we've still managed to knock over. We've got 3 crows and a couple of squirrels, so it hasn't been a bad day. I'm quite happy with that for a couple of hours air gunning. Brocock Ranger has been great fun to use. I love using this gun, and it's proved ideal for this sort of thing when you need a small, compact little gun like that. As always, the Element Scope's done the business. So, hope you've enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Well, I hope you enjoyed that little bit of footage there from the Brocock Ranger. Let's have a look at the rifle in a little bit more depth. So, as you can see, it's a nice little compact rifle. We've got folding stock on there. Nice little 2-stage trigger. I've got it fitted out with a Atlas bipod on the front here. We've got a little Picatinny rail on the bottom there, and you've got another one on the top. So the scope I've got sat on there is a Element Helix. This is the 60-24x50, and I'm using a Sports Match one-piece mount, so that means that I can quickly take that off and swap it for night vision and that if I want to. So overall the rifle measures 710mm or 71cm. That's with the silencer fitted and the stock extended. With the rifle folded down, that measures around about 38cm or 380mm. So overall the rifle weighs about 5.5 pounds or 2.5 kgs, and it has a 256mm long barrel which is threaded on the end to accept a moderator. The action is a side lever cocking mechanism with an 11-shot magazine. So this is an all metal rotary style magazine in 2.2. It's clearly labelled on the front though. Just forward of the cocking lever here there's a little dial which gives you 3 different power settings there, with the topmost setting being maximum power. You'll see at the front of the rifle here on the end of the cylinder you've got your pressure gauge. The filling point is located just below the cylinder with a rotating cover port. The recommended field pressure on this rifle is 240 bar, which will give you about 20 to 30 full power accurate shots. That's in 2.2. This rifle is also available in 177 and an FAC version, which I believe puts out around about 18 foot-pounds. This one is the standard 12 foot-pound legal limit version. So we've got a target out at about 25 yards there, so let's have a couple of shots and see what the accuracy is like. Well, that certainly looks very good, especially for a very short little compact rifle with a short barrel. So this rifle is fitted with a Huma regulator which keeps the shots consistent, and if we go over to our chronograph here, so over 21 shots there I've got a standard deviation of 4.57, gives me my BC here and G1. So average speed is 542, the high was 552, and that gives me a spread of 17, so 17 foot per second over 21 shots. That's not too bad at all. So as you can see, it's designed primarily for a right-handed user, but I'm left-handed. I've had no trouble whatsoever using this rifle. So I hope you enjoyed the overall look at the Brocock Ranger there. Thanks for watching, and please subscribe.
If you aren't a member of Basque, it's time to join now. Basque, looking after your sport, looking after you.